Hi, everybody. My name is Molly Smith, and I'm so happy to see you now here at Molly's Salon. This is our weekly program every Thursday evening where I interview innovative thinkers and creative firebrands. We're living through a critical time in American history, the COVID-19 pandemic, and a vital social justice movement led by Black Lives Matter. Our guests are a variety of artists and leaders discussing new ideas, how they're coping with the coronavirus and making positive social change, as well as showing us glimmers of hope for the future. So my guests this evening are Khaled El Nabawy, actor, Arena's Camp David, Michael Edwards, artistic director from Asolo Repertory Theater, and Jackie Reyes-Yanes, Director of the Mayor's Office on Latino Affairs in Washington, D.C. Now, Khaled El Nabawy is an Egyptian actor, film star, and activist with many awards for his Egyptian film career, including the All-African Film Award for Best Actor. He starred in more than 20 films and 10 television series, along with 3 theatrical plays. He earned his first Hollywood role in Ridley Scott's 2005 blockbuster film, Kingdom of Heaven, making him the first Arab leading actor to join Hollywood cinema since the great Omar Sharif. He's made several other Hollywood movies since then and made his theatrical debut in the United States at Arena Stage with Camp David in 2014. Welcome to you, Khaled. So good to see you from Cairo. The last time I saw you, Suzanne and I came to spend time with you and your family in December. And I have to say, it was one of the most transformational trips of my entire life. Thank you.
Thank you. It was great to have you in Egypt and always come to Egypt. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so curious, Khaled. We worked together on Camp David, and you played President Anwar Sadat. Can you just give us a little clue into the man and the way you created such a powerful portrait of him?
That's a great question. First of all, I got the chance to work with great artists like you and all the cast and Lawrence Wright and Jerry Rafshoon. It was great to work with you and learn from you. Being President Sadat is very difficult. And of course, I had the opportunity to use my imagination because in these 13 days behind the scene in Camp David, very few people could see him. So I got the chance to think of him as a human being. When he can be angry, when he can laugh, when he feels that he's lost, he doesn't know what to do, when he was threatened. This was very important moments to portray him as a human being, not only as a politician or as a man of state, because normally I would think of him as a leader, as a man of state, as a negotiator, but being behind the scene gave me this opportunity, and you helped me a lot, and this was great for me. And of course, I was terrified in the opening because, of course, President Carter was there, and it was great to have the chance to get to know him, to get to know even when we met in Colorado and we have the breakfast together, and then closely get to know how a politician thinks and acts. And though he's a great man, but I don't think that anybody would like to be a politician.
No, I think you're right. I think it's a tough life, but you have been both an actor that has done so many incredible roles and historical roles in Egypt and also in the United States. And as an artist, you've always been at the forefront of being able to speak your mind and speak the truth, because you're a true activist and an artist together. And I'm so curious, how are you responding to COVID-19 as an artist in Egypt?
We are taking a very good curve. We're doing great in Egypt. We flattened the rate. And I'm thinking as an artist of it, because, you know, even if the COVID-19 became less aggressive, I believe that the fear will remain. So we need to have a backup plan as entertainers. So I'm thinking loudly with you now, if we could create a theater platform. And imagine if Arena Stage and Kennedy Theater, they merge together to start this, for example. And some of the artists, actors, directors, producers, writers, they have shares as well. So we could start and we could fundraise for this theatrical platform. It's very important, I think, for the audience, because in the coming years, the target audience will not be achieved. So I wish that we can create this theatrical platform, and then we can talk, for example, with Netflix, with Stars Play, with others, to join us. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. It's been very sad in the United States because there has been a stranglehold with the unions that have not allowed streaming or live streaming of productions. And because of that, I think we're missing out on the brilliance of what theaters have been doing all over the United States with their productions. We could have our own television station that just has theatrical productions that people could enjoy all over the world. And Khaled, it could be something that could be combined with theaters all over the world, like, for example, in Egypt, right?
Let's do that.
Yeah, no, I think it would be great. And you definitely have some of the connections and communications in places like Hollywood to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you know, also, Molly, in the cinema, people like to see the making of how do we make movies. Also, it's very interesting to show people how do we make a play.
Yeah.
The table rehearsals are really interesting.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I'm seeing that we only have a couple minutes left, Khaled, although we could talk all night. I just want to know, what's the difference between making film in Egypt and making films in the United States?
Oh, you know, cinema is cinema everywhere. It reflects the mainstream of the people. It shouldn't reflect only the folkloric side of them, as media does, unfortunately. And I've got the chance to work with great people, Egyptians or Americans or British people. I've got the opportunity to work and learn from Yusuf Shaheen and Salah Abu Saif and Ridley Scott and Doug Liman, and also, beside being an entertainer, it's good that to fix some of the images. You know me, I don't like to defend my people or my region. I also see them great. But it's good to, in fair game, for example, to see that's a great Iraqi scientist. He's very decent, very aware of what he's doing. And in The Citizen, for example, with my friend Sam Kadi, that's the Lebanese guy, that he's very hardworking, he's very decent, he knows how to be dressed, he gives love all the time, and giving the truthful image is very important. We owe people this.
We do owe people this. Well, thank you, Khaled. It was so great to talk to you. I miss you. I can't wait to see you either in Egypt again or in the United States. So until then, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Next up is Michael Donald Edwards, who's the producing artistic director at Asolo Repertory Theater in Sarasota, Florida. He is in his 13th season there and has previously been associate artistic director at Syracuse Stage and artistic director of Shakespeare Santa Cruz. And he also is a Garland Award and Drama Log Award winning director.
Hey, Molly.
Hi, it's so good to see you, Michael.
Wonderful to see you, Molly. Wonderful to see you. And how inspiring to hear Khaled talk. It was great. He was thrilling in that Camp David, which I feel so grateful to have seen. And really typical of the kind of work you are doing. A wonderful brand new play that you directed, so engaging and stimulating, historically exciting, and that you performed it for President Carter is pretty interesting.
Oh my gosh.
And that must have been amazing.
He and Mrs. Carter were there.
Yes.
Tears running down their face.
Of course.
And not only that, Khaled didn't mention it, but Mrs. Sadat was in the audience.
Oh my God.
And she came backstage afterwards and said to him that she felt as if President Sadat came back.
Wow, that's
with his performance.
How moving and how gratifying, rewarding for you as an artist, as well as all of them, you know.
It was. It really was.
Yeah.
And Michael, you and I were able to work on The Originalist together, which is about Justice Scalia with Ed Giroux in it. And you brought us to Oslo, and we had a wonderful run. I love what you're doing at the Oslo because you're doing a lot of work that is politically focused. And I'm so curious about what kind of theater you're dreaming about today for our time.
Well, you know, it's a fascinating thing hearing both you and Khaled. First of all, it's really exciting and unusual to be able to talk to you. You know, even if it's this way, it's reminding me of what I miss, and so many of us miss, is actual contact. Because we live for contact, for social contact, and we have to not do that to survive. But the kind of work that we're planning and trying to do, our organization has shrunk in order to get through this crisis. Our board, amazingly, has stayed true. And we are hoping to do some kind of a version of the season that we have announced. But we are looking at the new platform, the online platform, really, really strongly. And we hope the unions will actually come to the party in a big and significant way to set us all free, to use our archives and use our imaginations to really continue to connect. I think they're on the verge of it. But we are, you know, we're looking at some very specific things that take advantage of being online. I have a lot of brilliant young staff who are very connected to this world in ways that I'm not, and they've taken away a lot of my anxiety around getting online and my audience's anxiety. That's not where we live. My audience loves to be in the room, listening to a great story, brilliantly told, and everyone is missing that. Missing that community connection. And these things are an attempt to kind of bridge that. I am excited at the idea of some of what we're planning. We are really significantly connecting with the schools. It turns out that one of our shows, we did a production of Hamlet with a bilingual cast in English and Spanish. And Nilo has given us, and Nilo Cruz did the translation. And it's a production I'm very proud of. And it's going to be used as a part of a core curriculum idea in the schools. And it's one of the things that we can actually get out there without having to go through the rights situation for everything. It turns out Shakespeare has said, okay, because, you know, we are.
No royalties.
Yes, yes. Well, Nilo, but Molly, It's very exciting. I should send it to you because we did a really pretty good quality video capture of it. and we're able to use it. We've been doing good quality video capture now for several years, with knowing that we probably will be sending productions on to other theaters, and it's not quite streamable level, but we are looking at, if we get to do anything in this next season, we are going to be videoing it. We are going to do high quality video capture with the intention of being able to stream it and be ready for when we get the okay to do it. As well, we are doing projects specifically designed to be online. I know you have done this with your wonderful day in Washington, where you hired those. We're working with KJ Sanchez on a project that she is developing, and I'm pretty excited about that, which is being done specifically for new media. We are looking at a couple of projects for young people, working with a theater in Minneapolis and some really interesting young people who are developing new work for online that will be connecting to our audiences and to schools. And I want to do a version of what you're doing here, Molly's Salon. I think there is an appetite for us to get into this new market and help guide the conversation to something that is as rewarding as being in the theater. Not quite the same, because there's no substitute for that. But you know what? We're pretty used to guiding and having hyper interesting, morally complex, intellectually engaging conversations in the theater. And if we need to help the world of TV and online do a better job of engaging us at this moral and intellectual and spiritual level, we have to get in there. Our politics seems very degraded in this area, and very disappointing that we don't have an elevated conversation going on in our politics, a kind of degraded, diminishing form of politics. And we have to counteract that. We have to counteract that with some brilliant thinking and ideas, some spectacle and joy. We want to bring joy to the world. And I think people really are hungry for that. And I think they're looking to me in our theater and in our community to get them excited about what the future might be. And, and I think there's a lot of gloom about how do we handle this pandemic. And I'm disappointed in how we've handled it as a state and as a country. Others are doing, it was interesting to hear Khaled say that they've flattened the curve in Egypt. So that was interesting to hear. I live for the day where we can say that as a country, that we've flattened the curve in the pandemic. We know we're going to get through it. We know we're going to sort this out. We have the capacity. We don't quite have the will to do it right now. And I think we have to be part of inspiring people to be confident that together we can get through this. I mean, one of the things that's happened, in our culture, in our economy, and in our politics, and I'm speaking as an immigrant, an Australian who has been in love with this country from a very young age, is this idea that we're on our own, that we just have to, wearing a mask is for people who, there's some kind of a false idea. The idea that we're on our own is actually an unfortunate thing to tell people, because actually we're not. We never really have been. The reason we've thrived as a species is that we love to be together. We love to be together. We love to connect. That's what evolution has privileged. Connectivity, connection, working together. It's how we've ended up with all the positive aspects of our culture. And we need to just remind people that that is our strength. Being connected and thinking collectively is our strength. It's how we'll defeat the virus. And it's how we'll come roaring back with storytelling and culture. And I want everyone to feel, optimistic. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic about dealing with this pandemic reality. And let's be realistic about dealing with this profound moment of social reckoning that is happening in America. But let's be optimistic about it. I've been drawn back to James Baldwin. I've been drawn back to these thinkers in the civil rights movement, these brilliant writers and so on. I mean, it feels that we're repeating a lot of things. Again, I'm sorry for going on, Molly. If you want to stop me, please. You asked me a question and I forgot what it was.
I'm going to stop you. Because we've just about gone over time, but I just want to say to you, I absolutely love the monologue you just did, Michael, because of everything that you're doing creatively, the way in which you're talking about this deep interaction that we in the theater have with each other and have with our audiences and can have online. All of the new innovative ideas that you're doing at Asolo. And I knew that you would because you have that kind of mind. It's been true at our staff at Arena Stage as well. Everybody is just thinking over time. And I'm so proud of the theater because the theater artists, and here we are, Khaled from Egypt, you from Australia in America, me from America, are making things happen that make people's lives better.
In our part of the world, in our little part of the world, we can make things better.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for being on, and let's get together as soon as we can when all of this changes.
Absolutely.
All right. Much love.
Bye.
Bye. Next is Jackie Reyes-Yanes. She's the executive director of the Office on Latino Affairs for Washington, D.C. She's responsible for advocating and making the Latino community an integral part of the District of Columbia's policy design and budget allocation. And the mandate for the agency, which is part of the Executive Office of the Mayor, is to ensure that full range of health, education, employment, and social services are made available to Latino residents of the District of Columbia. She's lived in DC since 1990 and is the first Salvadorian to run the agency. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Molly, for having me. And I'm so privileged to hear all of this talented Khaled and Michael. I was just enjoying and listening to them, all of the background, like artist therapy, especially during this time. So thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. And Jackie, I see a lot of flags behind you there. Can you talk to our audience about what those are?
Yes. So as you said, I'm the director of the Mayor's Office on Latino Affairs. So I'm in the Executive Office of the Mayor. One of the, in nationwide, you might hear about Immigrants Office, but I represent Latinos. So my friend at the American OAS, Pablo Zuniga, gave me, when I was first appointed in 2015, and like you said, I'm the first Salvadorian, and most the immigrant Latinos are from El Salvador. She said, Jackie, you not only represent Salvadorians, you represent all Latinos. So all these are the flags of all of the Latin American countries. So it's a gentle reminder, that I have to keep in mind that I represent all Latinos in Washington, D.C., which are 80,000. And this tells me to everybody who's listening is the census. Make sure you get counted because it's very important. If you go out, Molly, if you go out any part of the city, you will see Latinos fixing your food, right? And cleaning up in the hotels. So, and all the industries. So I'm telling you, everybody, please get counted. It's very important. We count, we're important.
Jackie, just a statement, and then I've got a question for you. If it's 80,000 Latino, that means 10% of Washington, D.C.'s population, because we're 700,000 here, right?
Yes.
Is actually a little bit more than 10% is in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. Is D.C. a sanctuary city? And if it is, how does that matter?
So it matters. The political times right now, they're very shaky. And we have a strong, that has been a blessing. Our Mayor Muriel Bowser is one tough lady. And we all know that. We just saw that, when they tried to mess with DC, you gotta have to think twice because Muriel Bowser will defend it. And she not only defends African American, she defends all the 700,000 inhabitants in the district. So what that means is when we're sanctuary city, that means that we are local level. We don't share information at the federal level, like ICE. You know, if they having an arrest warrant for somebody, that is a duty that they have to do. But they just come and pick and say, we're gonna do a raid, we're gonna go to a park and we're gonna get all and ask for the documentations. They can't. We're a sanctuary city. We also take pride that people who doesn't have documentation here can have a driver's license. So that's very important, you know, because people were driving still without insurance. So it was a public safety. Now they can drive with even though they don't have documentations. We have insurance, and we don't share any type of information with the federal government. So that is what a sanctuary city means. The mayor is one of the leading women, you know, not she only the mayor, but she's the mayor of the nation's capital. So whatever we do here in Washington, D.C. is look upon the other states, you know, and that's why she's working so hard for D.C. statehood, because she represents 700,000 people and we don't have that right to vote in Congress. So, so she's fighting a lot of battles, but when we talk about immigration, and I think I mentioned this to you, that we have, DC is home to 170 countries that different people lives here from those 170 countries. So that tells you the diversity, the culture, and the force why Mayor Bowser fights so hard to have an inclusive city. And as a world-class city globally, people looks at her and to see how we do things here. And she is a leader that has been in the front fighting, especially with the COVID. And if you see our numbers, we're steady now. She has a team of professionals that advise her on how we have to fight the COVID. We know that in Washington, D.C., everybody must wear a mask. So those are the things that we have reinvent our services during this COVID. Like you mentioned on my bio, that I have to make sure that we're that bridge between the community and the mayor's office. And we have been open, and you know, one of the things that you asked me yesterday is, what are you doing these days? So my staff and I, we have reinvented. We have a lot of Latinos, like you said, 80,000. And we have making sure we have doing that everything the mayor said is translated in Spanish, that they're not only translated, but we make sure that people understand. You know, we use platforms like yours. We use Facebook, Twitter, hand to hand. Our phone numbers are open from Monday through Sunday. So people, if they have a question, they don't understand how to get a COVID test, they will know how to do it. If they have more people in their apartments, because, you know, we Latinos, we live crowded, most of us. So if they don't have a place where to recuperate, the government pays for a hotel, so they can go in and quarantine for 14 days without being worried to infect other people. So this end, you don't have to pay it, and you don't have to, and we don't care about your immigration status. It's totally free. So all of these services Mayor Bowser has come up with, you know, she's always thinking about innovation, how we can serve better everybody here in the district.
Well, wonderful, Jackie. I mean, you're a font of knowledge, and I just want to tell you one thing before we need to end, which is we've just made a film called The 51st State, and it is partly about the protests around after the murder of George Floyd. It's also about the continuing build of the movement toward racial justice and sovereignty, and Washington, D.C. becoming a state.
Wow.
And so,
Thank
exactly.
you.
When you see it, and Muriel Bowser is somebody really important to us. We gave her an award a couple of years ago as the most important woman in the city. So we're behind her. She's gutsy and she follows through. And we really appreciate her. And I so appreciate what you're doing, Jackie. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Molly, for having this outlet and having people like so talented. I'm like now going back. I'm gonna go back and watch all the Cape David and all of those. I just hearing it, and I was like, oh my God, I need to see this.
Great.
For being you.
Thank you, Jackie. Take care.
Gracias.
All right. Gracias. Gracias. My guest next week will be Idris Goodwin, playwright and power play commissioned writer, Philippa P. B. Hughes, social sculptor and cultural strategist, and Jocelyn Clark, arena stage dramaturg. And today's gift of art actually comes to us from the Actors Theater of Louisville, from my dear friend, Robert Barry Fleming. And they have created a theatrical streaming production called The Keep Going Song. Indie folk duo Abigail and Sean Bengtson returned to Actors Theater with this intimate evening of storytelling through song. In the darkest times, people have long found solace in the sound of their shared voices around a small light. And the Bengtsons humbly invite you to come lean into the small glow of your phones and computers as they explore living fully, even in moments of fear, choosing to love fiercely and cultivate joy as a form of personal activism. You can purchase a ticket to stream the entire show at actorstheater.org. Enjoy this example of their powerful work, a song called What Else Can I Do? I've been waiting for protest music to be written about our time today, and this couple and Actors Theater of Louisville take us there. So let's hear the song, Renee and Brianne.
I pray you are healing. I pray you are whole, and if you are breaking, I pray you are breaking open, that you are breaking like dawn, and I hope you are feeling that I am walking beside you, and we are walking a road that is built by the breaking, and what is cracking inside of you could make a space to plant the whole world, a world we are walking to.
Pray for resilience.
I pray for the strength to walk beside you. I pray the world we are imagining is the world we are walking into.
What else can we do? We're walking on. I will remember you. What else can we do?
I will remember you. What else? What else? What else? What else can we do?
I'll be walking, I'll be walking. I'll keep walking, I'll be walking. I'll be walking, I'll be walking. I'll keep walking, I'll be walking. Oh, I will let my heart break. What else can we do?
Keep going. You got this.
There is so much going on right now, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed.
Everything that you're feeling is appropriate.
When you feel like you can't go on, just know that others are there to hold you up.
You're not alone.
I'll remember you.
Don't give up.
Keep walking. You got this.
If the world burns down, or if the oceans rise, if our bodies fail, if the wars arrive, will you remember me? I'll remember you. I'll remember you.
What else can we do? Oh, what else can we do?
We got you. We're walking with you.
Keep walking.
Keep pushing. Keep breathing. You are worthy of your own magic.
What else can we do?
I'll be walking, I'll be walking. I'll keep walking, I'll be walking. I'll be walking.